Okay, ducks, don't get cold feet, number 34, and we are here with the founder, chairman of Oz Medican Group, John Leith. Welcome.
Welcome to you, and thank you for having me.
Now, you probably not heard John Leith's name unless you've been in the CBD cannabis era, but John, you seem to be pushing on the forefront of trying to be able to get cannabis legalized for Australians.
Absolutely. So we've been working on this for the last 4 years, and we've got about another 18 months before we'll actually have a product, CBD product on the shelf.
So when we talk, I mean, this is such a fascinating, it's such a fascinating area about looking where we're going. I'm a big believer of natural products. So, you know, most people know I'm a bit of a fan with mushrooms and whatever mushrooms that you can throw at people. I think they're put on the planet for a reason.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that's the same with hemp products. Now, there's a bit of confusion with cannabis, hemp, like, you know, I hear about people talking about cannabis now. Like, my mum is on every drug on the planet.
Oh, good on her.
Right. And I sit there and I go, Mum, you should check out CBD. It's natural.
Yeah.
Oh, no, can't do that. It can't be good for you. And I sit there and I go, Mum, like, it's a natural product. It's way better than all the cocktail of shit you're actually on.
That's right.
Why don't you have a look? And there is a lot of bad stigma about what the product does. I don't think with young people, but I particularly think with the older generation. Without jumping straight into it, you're now in the cannabis industry.
Yes.
But before that, you were in HR. Is that true?
Yes, I was. What a big difference, right?
I talk about like polars apart. You're talking about dealing with people and making sure keeping everyone happy.
Yeah.
To really being on the forefront of not being, you know, people seem to not like you because you've got the cannabis flag. So how did you do that?
Right. Look, I mean, it was all by accident, because what happened with me is I was a management consultant within the HR space.
Yeah.
And I took 2 years out to do a master's. So I went to Europe, and I discovered when I was there, my niece was actually using CBD oil for seizures and my brother for cancer. But they didn't tell anyone in our family because it was illegal. And my brother, being a barrister, was very embarrassed about going to the black market to get this oil.
Yeah.
So when I discovered what the oil was, CBD oil, because I had no idea what it was and what it could do.
Yeah.
I became quite belligerent to the point where I thought, well, I'm taking time out to study. I may as well study about CBD and about cannabis.
Yeah.
So I then proceeded for the next 3 years, studying all over the world, everything about CBD and cannabis.
So how long ago was this?
2015 now.
So it's really, was it legal over there?
No. So at the time when I discovered this in 2015, it was illegal.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get CBD anywhere. Fast forward a few years later, and you can get CBD everywhere in London, throughout Europe.
Yeah.
And obviously in Canada it's legal, and in the US it's legal. In other parts of the world it's legal. And in fact, in some places, most places, it's now for adult use, recreational.
So if you talk about things in being legal, I noticed that in the US, the House of Representatives are trying to vote to legalize cannabis federally. So that's the whole country.
Yeah.
I see when you look at the map and they show you how many have got it's legalized in America and other countries all around the world. Is Australia really, you know, are we not moving with the times here, or is there what am I missing about it?
Look, you're right to think that, but not really. It's a case of when Canada and when the US do things, we tend to follow that. Now, it could be 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. Yeah. But a lot of people ask me, when do I think that cannabis will become legal in Australia for adult use? And I guess that it's around about 10 years off. Now, the reason I guess that is because in Canada, they went from being a medical market, and it took them 10 years to then move from medical to recreational.
Okay, so for people that are listening, what is the difference between recreational and medical grade cannabis?
Look, the two of them are the same thing, essentially.
Yep.
Only one of them is legal and you'll be able to get it in a pharmacy. And the other one, you'll be able to get, in this country, it's black market only.
So so when we talk about recreational, I think of smoking a joint or something like that. Is that, and edibles? Yeah, they're pretty popular these days. So, but is that your product you're not talking about recreational, you're talking about medical grade cannabis?
Yeah.
Medical grade hemp. What's the CBD? What's the right term to be using?
Well, my company, the HempOZ Medican Group, is a medical cannabis and CBD wellness company. So we only talk about the medical market and the medical products. We're focused on delivering and getting these products registered on the TGA. So that's a very different proposition. The difference between that market and the recreational market is that the recreational market doesn't have to have the same rigor as the medical market. So when you put something through as a Schedule 3, which is what CBD will sit within the pharmacy, and that means that there's no prescription required, but it does have to have went through all of the checks and balances as any other medication really would have.
So if we talk about CBD oil. Now, I hear a lot of that for sale.
Yeah.
Like, does it get you high?
No, in a short answer.
Yep.
I'll give you an example of the difference. So you have the cannabis plant.
Yep.
And what comes out of the cannabis plant is 150 plus cannabinoids, and they all do different stuff, essentially. Yep. The two main cannabinoids that come out are, one is THC. That's what gets you high.
Yep.
And that's what they extract out of the plant. The other one is CBD. They extract that out, and that doesn't have any of the psychoactive properties, so that doesn't get you high. So the difference is that one will get you high and the other one won't.
So if I have CBD oil and I'm buying it off the black market, or I can go to doctors now, they can prescribe me CBD oil now?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. The trouble is, you can go to your doctor, you can get prescribed a CBD product, but there's no registered CBD products for prescription at this stage. There are two, which are Canadian. One's Canadian, I believe. One's of Europe, which are actually on prescription.
So they're TGA approved.
They're TGA approved,
and there's only two.
Yeah, and one of them is for drought syndrome.
Yep.
And the other one is for epilepsy.
Okay.
But
it's very specific.
For a specific condition.
Right.
So at the moment, though, you technically can go into your pharmacy and get it. It's just that we haven't, i.e. the HempOZ Medican Group and other companies in the space are working on doing their clinical evidence, because it has to be backed up by clinical evidence. We can't just say CBD is good for,
sleeping.
Or or a multitude, because as we've all heard, cannabis seems to be this wonder drug, which I actually don't believe that it is.
Yep.
I think that, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, but the reality is that you've got to get the real evidence, which means that it has to be for a specific indication.
Okay. So, I mean, I'll be honest, when I've had weed, it's no wonder drug for me. I just want to eat and I want to sleep. It's totally the opposite of what I am. I'm quite a hypo person.
Yeah.
But I've had some CBD oil.
Yeah.
And, I didn't feel any effects of it, I don't think. Is that how it is?
Well, it can be. It depends where you're getting it from. So if you look at
black market,
if you get it from the black market, then you don't essentially know what you're getting. So there could be anything in it. It could be mixed with THC. It could be mixed with no CBD. So there's been there was some reports done by the TGA in this country just last year, where they took a whole lot of products from companies that are in the cannabis space and people that are selling it on the black market, and there was no CBD in it. There was no CBD in the product. So they were getting oil.
Yeah.
And that's what they were drinking. That's what they were taking. So the difference is what Australia's done, and they've done a really good job on it, because they're actually saying, well, we will put this over the counter. You as a company have to go and do the clinical evidence and the clinical trials to then support and back up what it says on the label.
Yep.
So our product, for example, is a sleep product for sleep insomnia.
So you have a CBD product that is currently being trialed.
Yes. So we have a CBD sleep product. In fact, we're actually doing the recruitment for that now. So we can perhaps give some details at the end of this podcast. And if anyone is interested in participating in the trial for the CBD sleep
My wife
trial,
will sign up to that.
Yeah.
Anything that helps with sleep.
Yeah.
So what sort of thing, do they put you in a room and fill it with smoke, or is it, or they give you like obviously drops of oil? There must be a whole lot of criteria that goes into that.
Yeah.
So there's trials around Australia?
So it's a Trans-Tasman. It's the first in the world Trans-Tasman trial. And so we'll include Tasmania, and it's all of Australia. So 300 people on the trial.
Yep.
And when we hit the button, which is next week, we'll start the recruitment for that, and they can be anywhere.
So what do you need a certain criteria to be able to?
Look, I mean, it's the scientific team can talk to the exact specifics. So I would suggest that if someone's interested in taking part in a sleep clinical trial using CBD and doesn't expect there to be a smoking room somewhere, then they can contact the podcast and get my details, and then we can actually get them to talk to the scientific team that are managing the clinical trials.
That sounds like a good idea. We'll definitely do that. I was talking about CBD. So the TGA has only approved 2 CBD. Yes. Is it only oil, or does it come in a powder? Does it come in a tablet? Is there any other way you can get CBD?
These 2 come in an oil and a drop format. And one is, they're for very specific conditions. Yeah. One of them is for epilepsy. And the other one, I can't quite remember what that's for, but you need to have a specific condition to be able to get access to that.
What surprises me, out of all of the products around the world, there's only 2 that are approved. So when we talk about America's legalized, what have they legalized?
Well, America's legalized for medical and also for recreational adults. So that's a good point though, JP, because there's a big question here to be asked. Why is there only 2 products on the counter?
Are they the only 2 that have paid enough money to the greedy TGA? TGA.
No. The TGA are doing a fantastic job.
They are.
They really do.
Sure they are.
And no, it's not because they've paid money. It's because they've invested in clinical data and clinical evidence, and it means that they can actually say that their product is for a specific condition, for example, epilepsy. Yeah. So our clinical trial, for example, is sleep. Now, and whilst you might be able to have other benefits from that in terms of anxiety reduction and depression reduction, we as a company can only test on one indication at a time. So our indication, first cab off the rank, is sleep.
So it's pretty exciting.
It's really exciting,
Like, my only concern with and I think it's a positive, with the medical industry, is the time it takes to do the studies and make sure your sampling's good. I mean, we'd hate to do like a study like they did with the vaccine, I guess. So we'd want to make sure we're a bit more diligent in doing a sleep study. Yeah. So what sleep study, what is it? Because for me, I got a Whoop. It monitors how much I'm sleeping.
Brilliant.
It guesses what pattern, if I'm in the REM, or what it knows when I've had a big night. Yeah. And it's very accurate. Yeah. So what is it exactly when someone says sleep? Is that because they don't have enough? Because they get actually, strung out about not being able to sleep? What exactly is it when you're trying to say sleep is one of the things? Like what? More sleep? More deeper sleep?
Yeah, look, that's a really good point. It's getting to sleep sometimes is the first thing. Yeah. So being able to get to sleep, a lot of people, especially with COVID, and also all of the other sort of crises that are going around the world at the minute.
It's
People
a
are
shit
just,
show, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, fucking hell. It's you can only wonder what the kids are thinking in this day and age, and they're watching what's going on. They're seeing on the news, if I'm stupid enough to watch it, those bodies everywhere in a war, and like there is a lot of anxiety out there. There's no doubt, and I know so many people that can't sleep. Like literally. Well, my wife's definitely one of them. She just can't turn off. I want to know how this study you think is going to help.
Well, there's 1 in 9 people in Australia can't sleep at night.
Is that all? I thought it would be more. Ollie, do you sleep well?
No, I'm taking melatonin.
Melatonin? V, do you sleep well?
Yeah,
so she don't sleep.
No.
And I
she
sleep.
doesn't sleep. And I sleep really well because I've used the actual, I've been the test dummy on the CBD sleep product. So by the time they dissolve under the tongue, you've already hit the pillow and you're gone.
So it's an oil. And
no, our product is not an oil.
Oh.
It's a sublingual, which is a dissolvable. So it means that if you put an oil in, it takes an awful lot longer for the oil to reach the blood system. Yeah. And also with the saliva, it actually doesn't get to where it needs to get to because it can dissolve before it's got there.
Yeah.
Whereas a sublingual is actually done under the tongue and it's got a far greater bioavailability, which just means that it impacts you much more. It works a lot quicker.
So is that part of your TGA approval?
Yeah.
So you go do the study?
Yeah.
So you can't just rock up to your bedroom and get a couple of scientists there to get it. No, does it not like that? No,
it's been a long time since I've had anybody in my bedroom. And the last people that I'd want to have in my bedroom is a bunch of scientists. At that point, I don't want it to be analysed. I just want the deal to be done. But getting back to how it works, look, it's not for the faint-hearted getting a product over the TGA. I mean, it does, apart from it costing $1 gazillion to make it happen. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of making sure that its efficacy is proved, and also that it actually does what it says it's going to do on the tin.
So talk me through a timeline for getting a product TGA approved.
Well, we've been working on it now for 3 years. And we have got about 15 to 18 months. It could be before then where we'll see our product on shelf. From now.
So that's almost 5 years.
Yes. Having said that, we've been working on it. We were working on it for about 3 years in advance of the TGA's new regulations, because it was only recently in 2020 the TGA rescheduled CBD.
Right.
So they have now recognised that CBD should be available over the counter without a subscription. Without a prescription even. But that is a long gap between them making that announcement and companies like us being able to demonstrate and prove the efficacy for that particular product.
So if we talk about Australia, are you have you got a big plantation there where you've got fields of weed? No. And the reason he actually ruined the the Sound of Music where it's running through the fields.
No, there's no running through the fields just yet. We do have licenses. We can cultivate as much cannabis as we like.
So they call that seed to patient.
Yeah.
It's a cool name.
It is. We're probably more lab to consumer and patient.
Okay.
So what we don't want to do is take all of the time by growing cannabis. We have a partner that will grow and does grow it for us. And eventually we might go and grow it, but it won't be in the short term.
I got a mate, Davo, that does a bit of growing.
Well, maybe you can put him in touch with me then. Interestingly, I read an article just last week about in the US where all of the criminals that have been banged up abroad for selling cannabis and growing cannabis, they're all now the new talent for the cannabis industry in the US.
It totally makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, they're all the ones that know how to grow it.
Yeah, it does make sense, and it's a skill. It's an art. Like I had a mate. Oh well, won't say his. Shall I say that? No,
don't say he's doing that.
But he was good at it, and it is a bit of a skill, and I don't think it's for everyone. Like if anyone's seen my garden, they'll know I wouldn't be good at it.
No,
like well, I just wouldn't.
Yeah, look, I mean, people think it's a weed, right? How can you go wrong with growing a weed? But in actual fact, I'm a bit like you. I have a hard time keeping up with my daffodils and my daisies. Don't ask me why I've got them, but I have. Let alone, dealing with a sort of broadacre cannabis plants.
So, okay, so you've got your trial. You have a unique product, sublingual.
Yeah, sublingual CBD tablet.
Okay, so is anyone else in the world doing that sort of tablet?
No, that isn't.
Can someone just copy it? Like, can the bigger player just go, thanks, John, I'm going to copy that idea? Or, is it honor amongst thieves?
No, it's not honor amongst thieves because, as soon as you get the product on the market, you're going to have the Castafrago Rock out there trying to, copy it like we're in China or something. But it is a little bit more tricky to do that in terms of copying the formulation that you have.
Okay.
And in terms of getting it registered, once you've registered it, no one can register the same type of product. So they can benefit from it though. Late arrivals into the space can benefit from the research that's been done because that will be open research. But they won't be able to take advantage of the formulation or the delivery method.
So is it like Viagra that they had it for a period of time, then after that period, bang, everyone can do it?
Yes. Well, it depends.
How they get the patent, they spend the money. Like I'd hate to think how much money it would really cost to get a product approved by the TGA. I'm guessing $5 million. Is it like $1 million a year? By the time you pay for scientists, research, I don't know. Yeah. You would know better than me.
Yeah, look, the project cost from War to Go is around about $2 million.
Yeah.
Now, you always add $1 million to that because for the bits and pieces that, don't go to plan. But you're talking about a market of just over 5 billion just for sleep. Now, at the moment, we have got 125,000 people who are paying for a prescription for CBD and other cannabis products. Now, I mentioned earlier about the 2 products that are actually registered.
Yeah.
Well, people aren't going to get those products unless they have a specific condition.
Yeah.
And that's the... what's the condition? See if you're listening now.
What? If they've got epilepsy.
Epilepsy, well done. Yeah. So it is a 2-way conversation. That's good. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, is this a trick here?
Yeah. It is a trick. So unless they've got epilepsy, but so the reality is, right? So if you're not taking for epilepsy, there's 120,000 people out there at the moment who have got a prescription for cannabis from their
in the world
doctor in this country. So it was last year.
125,000 people.
123,000.
120,000 people.
Yeah. So
that's
last
a lot
year,
more than I thought.
Yeah, last year it was slow to get off the ground, but last year it was around about 65. So or 2020, so it's doubled basically. So every year they're expecting it to double, but the catch is this: none of the product that people are getting the prescriptions for today are actually registered on the TGA. So they come through the system under a special access, which means that companies here can get them from Canada, a Canadian company or an American company. They can white label them. They don't have to prove that they're for a specific condition.
Yep.
So if you compare apples with apples, so the product that we've got and the trials that we're doing, you have to prove that it can do what it says it can do on the tin. But at the moment, and it's got to be for sleep or a specific indication, whether it's at the moment, if you get a prescription from your doctor, you don't know other than the fact that it's a GMP certified facility that's brought this product out. But there's no registry. There's no, it's not for a specific indication.
So you can order CBD online from Canada and it comes through,
I wouldn't recommend it.
but you could. No?
I think some people, it's illegal.
It is
It's
illegal.
illegal.
Yeah.
So CBD in this country is illegal unless it comes from a company like ours who's done the clinical trial that has a specific indication for it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's illegal. Now, they've done tests, the TGA, with products from all over the world. And what they've discovered that they're selling, the companies that are the people that are buying products from Canada or the US or even Europe, where once they do the test, they discover that there's not even any CBD in them.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
It would be a gamble. Gamble, will it get here? Because it's not guaranteed to get through customs. If it does get through customs, is it really what it's supposed to be?
Yeah. So how many Australian companies are doing medical grade cannabis?
Everyone's doing medical grade cannabis because that's all you can do at the moment.
Oh, so is there 50 companies?
Oh, there'd be about 40 companies that are actually, focused on doing some sort or some form of medicinal cannabis.
Are they all doctors or nurses? Or are they just like, Billy Joe off the street?
Well, they could be Billy Joe off the street. Look, at the end of the day, in 2016, the government made an announcement here and said that medical cannabis is going to become legal.
Yep.
And that opened up the floodgates for Bill and Bob, Tom and Joe, and everybody else to go out and get a license. But what they didn't realize is that getting a license is not for the faint-hearted, and it can take up to 3 years just to get the license.
So do you have a license?
Yes, we have a license to grow broadacre cannabis.
Okay.
And then do the research and touch the plant, the research and the development from that.
So how many people have a license? Do you know? Is it like one of those things like a fishing license? There's this many and that's it. A taxi license, there's this many and you can't get any more, you got to pay. Or is there going to be a cap on how many licenses can be? Is that the way forward?
Look, I reckon that it will be.
Yeah.
Deloitte did a report for the government and said that there might be around about 20 companies who would put their hand up to go through the license process. And in actual fact, there was over 100 companies.
Wow.
Yeah. So while
a lot of people want it. I mean,
they want a license.
This is a pretty hot space.
Well, it's it's like the Charlie and the Golden Ticket.
Oh, I know all about golden tickets.
Yeah. So it's about that. It's a bit like that. They all want this ticket to be able to cultivate and grow cannabis. But what they don't realize, for the most part, and I'm not talking about everyone, but for the most part, they don't realize what is actually behind that. You mentioned earlier about not being able to grow plants. I did too. Yeah. Well, growing cannabis is very specific. And to be able to pay for the facility that you need and the security that you need just before you do anything else is not for the faint-hearted. So there's a lot of people that got licenses, but they've done nothing with them.
So is there a difference between like weed in the wild and weed grown hydroponically?
Well, the weed grown in the wild, you don't know what you don't know. It could be, it could be very strong on THC and very weak on CBD. Whereas if you get something that's grown in a lab, then you know that it's got a specific amount of THC and say CBD or CBN, depending what it is that you want to get out of the cannabis.
So your product's obviously very specific.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's indoor. It's grown indoor. It's grown in a lab or a big warehouse.
Yeah,
it would be like Fort Knox. I'm assuming.
It is a bit like Fort Knox.
I'm assuming.
And it's again not for the faint-hearted.
With that product, I'm assuming that does the THC? Because what I think we've made it a little bit clear with the THC component is the psychoactive component.
Yeah, it gets you high.
It's kind of like the psilocybin with mushrooms. It's the psilocybin mushrooms that's the part that makes you hallucinate, but there's many other properties in mushrooms like the turkey tail or the cordyceps, and there's no psychoactive effect in that.
Yeah.
So when we talk CBD, because it's medical, always talk about the THC is not even in the component.
That's right. We don't have any THC in the product. In this particular product, we don't have any THC. It's pure CBD.
Yeah, and so it's grown with no THC in it?
That's right.
So if you stole it, you'd be pretty disappointed.
You would. Yeah. You wouldn't want to take it from the farm. And think that you're going to get high from it because you won't.
No, you just get sore lungs, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So for having the lab, having all this process going, you literally haven't had a product to be able to sell.
Yeah.
So how do you get by?
Look, for us, it's a bit different in that our strategic objective was to have an early stage revenue. So the Oz Medican group is made up of two divisions. Oh. One is for therapeutics and hemp therapeutics, and it's around having evidence-based products that are actually fit within that prevention of health. So the HempOZ division was born.
Okay.
And that allowed us.
Now, how did you come up with HempOZ?
Again, it was by accident because I actually came down with type 2 diabetes whilst I was setting up the Oz Medican group. And having the lab and being in this health and wellness space allowed me to contact our team and say, right, I've got this problem. Can you come up with something? They did the research and we played around with a mixture of ingredients that actually I tried and worked, and they were absolutely gold. So they actually reversed my symptoms of type 2 diabetes. So whilst I knew that, yeah, I know, right? So, in actual fact, it's quite interesting that you should say that because I went on the SBS Medicine or Myth show, so with Dr. Charlie Tail and Dr. Ginny Mansberg. So they'd heard about this and how it reversed my type 2 diabetes, and they said bullshit as well. There's no way that this could be possible. So they invited me on this program. And the idea is if they like the story, they'll test the product and they'll invest in the clinical trials. So they actually were like you and said, there's no way. I mean, if this drink can do what you're saying it can do, then it's going to change the world. It's going to change people's lives all over the world. So because of that, we're going to put it through the clinical trial. So it was a 12-month process live on television. And they put it through the trial, and at the end of the trial, they do the tests with people's blood tests and so forth. And I don't have the exact figures, but the majority of people reversed the symptoms of type 2 diabetes, and there was other people in the cohort that reversed the type 2 diabetes
by drinking. Let me get this right. I just needed to drink like a bottle like this Jamu.
Yeah.
You had your HempOZ kombucha.
Yeah.
In a bottle like that.
Yeah.
And I had to drink, 5 a day, 10 a day?
Well, on the clinical trial, they did 1 per day.
Yep.
And they did that for about 8 weeks or something. And that's where that was the results. So it's quite phenomenal.
So tell me, why isn't everyone talking about this?
Well, what happened with us is we got really caught. We got caught up because we weren't on that particular show to promote or to sell any product.
Yeah.
We were there to talk about, well, this is something that I used when I had type 2 diabetes, and this is how it improved my life. And if it can help for other people, then great. But we were very particular that we weren't going on to sell anything. And as a result of the show, before the show ended, our website was inundated, even though we didn't actually say.
So you weren't trying to sell. I mean, the stats for that, V's just sent me the stats for that. 75% of participants reported improving in their fasting blood sugar levels.
Yeah.
What a 1.5 mmol, whatever, fasting blood sugar level improvement. These are huge.
It's quite dramatic, and it can. It's quite dramatic. It can
It
really
almost
change
sounds like
people's
I
lives.
can't believe it. I'm
Yeah.
staggered by how dramatic is an understatement.
Yeah.
Diabetes is a massive problem worldwide.
Well, one in every 5 minutes, somebody comes down with type 2 diabetes in this country. It's the biggest problem in the world today in terms of the health problem. So in this country, 1 in every 5 minutes, someone comes down with type 2 diabetes.
The numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
I can't believe. And fuck, we're not even selling this fucking product. So we've got to get our shit together
Yeah.
to get this product in place.
So what we did is it was all by accident. So we tried it because it helped me. And then we thought, well,
Hey, you are the perfect guinea pig.
Yeah, well, I am. Give me anything. I'll give anything a go, basically. But when we tried it, we didn't know that it was going to be beneficial to everybody else, and so we created these kits. And the kits were, because being Scottish, I don't want to pay, an extortionate amount of money for something.
You're not from Aberdeen, are you?
No, but no far from.
Okay, my GM is an Aberdeen,
right, okay.
And don't worry, I'm well attuned to it.
Yeah.
So keep going.
So yeah, the reality is that I didn't want people to spend an awful lot of money. I wanted them to do something themselves.
Yep.
So I created a kit that allowed people to make their own. So at home, they can make 40 servings and it costs about 3 cents per serving. And they don't need to use our product to do that. They can use anyone's ingredients to do that. So it's a real
Why the fuck? You just lost it. You just gave your market away.
No. But the whole idea is that we want people to be able to do
enough.
this because we're a medical company.
Yeah.
So if we were only worried about the bottom line, then we might not do that. But we're actually more interested in patients.
Wow.
Because that fits in with a bigger picture.
I'm sure I know this story. I'm sure you've told me this, but Jesus, those results are amazing. And that, you can't not like that. That can't be shaped at. Do you sell much product?
Loads. So what we do is we've got a few ways that we sell product. First of all, to get back to the show, we got caught off guard because we didn't, as I said, go in there to sell anything. And we had thousands and thousands and thousands of orders. In fact, it was that chaotic that we ended up on a current affair.
For not supplying orders.
For not supplying because we were being 2 weeks and 3 weeks and not being able to get to people. And so we ended up turning our head office into a bit of a conveyor belt distribution centre. So we managed to keep up with them. And so we've got those customers that have seen the show. And you can see the show. It's still on SBS Demand. So anyone can go on and check it out. So on, I think, episode 8 is a catch-up. And that's great because it actually goes through the whole process of me talking about it right through to the patients talking about it. But no, we have sold more than we could sell. And we had angry customers as a result of that, which was even harder to deal with than actually selling the product.
So how long ago was this? When was this?
2018, I think it was 18.
So it's not actually that long ago.
No.
That's incredible. I mean, I can't see Pfizer giving you the ingredients on how to get a vaccine so that they don't make as much money. It's quite a different look at profit over just willingness for a better earth, a better planet to live on, and everyone's health. So it's pretty interesting.
But the funny thing
it's
about
quite Elon Musk, isn't it?
Yeah, well, people can do it. I mean, and
you could be the next Elon Musk.
Well, we're on track. I just have to learn how to drive. But no, in terms of the availability, the whole purpose of the HempOZ division, and it ties in with what you mentioned earlier about us being an early stage cannabis revenue generator. The funds that we make from our HempOZ division actually goes towards our clinical trials. Right. So we're not looking to get rich from selling beverages or to selling our therapeutics. They're to actually support the further, the strategic direction of the company being a medical company that puts patients above profits.
It's such a different model. Like when you look at all the different models moving forward, and I seen the things that you endeavoring to do, and I think because you're more scientific, then I'm assuming most of the Australian offers aren't all scientific, or are they all scientific?
For the cannabis space in
they
Australia,
have to be. Well, they have to be.
They have to be.
Yeah.
But I have to say that the work that the cannabis industry does in Australia is pretty significant. There's some really fantastic players out there, and they have a science-led approach. So underlining what I hear, though, is that they're all waiting for the big stick, the big ticket item, which is adult use cannabis.
So is that recreational or
that's
just
recreational? Yeah.
So is that the when you see in the States, and they have the dispensaries, and you can go in and you can pick your different highs, and do you think that's where it should go?
Definitely, I do. I mean, for us, it's not ideal if that happens straight away.
Yeah.
And why do I say that? Because as a medical company, we're focused on clinical data.
Yeah.
And we're focused on the evidence. So if they were to go recreational tomorrow, then there wouldn't be any need for companies like us to invest that amount of money in the clinical evidence.
Fair enough. I haven't looked at it like that.
Yeah, and I believe, and most people in our industry believe that they want to be able to demonstrate that their product is actually something that, as I said before, that can be, that's going to reflect what it says on the can.
Yeah, because I look at how they set it up in America, and they get put, like I watch Cops. Yeah. And they get pulled over, and if they have it in that certain, like in a container, it's like, okay, they understand it's medical grade.
Yeah.
The thing I don't get is if THC is in those recreational drugs, how are you able to drive? That's the part I don't get, because here you see the ads, and I think the ads are quite clever. It's got the smoke coming out, and you may have had some weed last night, but it's still in your system. And, and I think they're great ads. And I think in the States, when you watch them, they pull them over. But if they got it in a container, they know it's medical. They know it's they know it's not medical. They know it's from the dispensary.
Yes.
But anyone can go to the dispensary, or certain people, or I don't quite know how it works. And I think for Australia, how long away is it before Drake's is selling? Weed.
Yeah.
Is it going to happen in our lifetime?
Look, I reckon
we're pretty young, so I would hope so.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Certainly mine, because I'm a lot younger than you are. But let's not throw the age gap around. But no, it's definitely, as I said before, it's a bit like Canada. I mean, it takes time. There's a lot of real evidence coming to the forefront now. But, you think about it, cannabis, right? It's hundreds and hundreds and gazillion years old, right? Going back to day dot.
Well, hey, cannabis was only outlawed in Australia between 1926 and 1959. So pre that, they were all smoking weed and eating it.
Well, companies like Pfizer and other companies had products as well in the pharmacy that were from cannabinoids. Yeah. So
what, they stopped doing those?
So they had to stop doing it because of the war on drugs, because in the US they went and put a full ban on anything to do with cannabis.
So, but opioids are fine.
Opioids are fine. Well, I know.
What the fuck? I mean, this is the part that I really don't understand.
Well, I mean, it does make you think, doesn't it? When you think about opioids, but the people behind opioids, the money that they've got, the pharmaceutical might that they have, and now, of course, all of that's coming to the forefront, because now we've seen countries and states in the US that are just
destroyed. Well, you see, there's some crazy docos on opioids, and how it is decimating countries, people, and it starts off by something simple like, I've got a knee reconstruction. I'm prescribed. What's some opioid? I don't know. I'm
benzo or something.
Benzo. I'm prescribed.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah. So I'm prescribed something, and then all of a sudden I like that feeling, And then all of a sudden, well, hang on, my injury was a while ago. I still keep getting a subscription until I can't.
Yeah.
And you can see how, that's what started the Oxycontin, and how that destroy and how much they make on that drug.
Yeah.
I'm not a doubter of big pharmacy's legitimacy, but they're not just going to pull that off the table.
Look, that's the whole point, isn't it? And they don't pull it off the table. And it is about making money and creating revenue. And it's a real shame because it's at the cost of people's lives. And you talk about the fact that people went in and they had some sort of reconstruction and they had some back problem. And then before you know it, these are normal people just like us that have been given an opioid.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they're addicted to it. So as soon as the tap's turned off from the doctor, what are their other options? Their only options are to go to the black market. So they go to the black market and they end up on heroin or some other, godforsaken drug that they take. They lose their family, they lose their work, they lose their people that are close to them, their children in some occasions. And of course, it's treated as a criminal offence. Well, it wasn't a criminal offence when the person had a back injury and went to the doctors and one day said, here, take that and you'll feel better. So there's a lot of problems in that space as a result.
Fuck, my mum will never listen to this, but she has I don't know how many Oxycontins she has a day. And, she can't drive because it's too strong.
That's right.
Like they say.
Yeah.
And thank God for that. If anyone's sat in this fucking passenger seat, it's fine. Right? And I look at that and I think, fuck, mum, this is not good. That is really bad. And she's been on them for many years.
Yeah.
But her psyche to go into something natural, she can't fathom that a natural is the way to go. And she's not alone. And she's a bit older too, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it and I think, fucking, you watch these docos that do not harm the opioid epidemic. I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And you can see that's a problem. But what's even a problem is how much people are getting prescriptions for, and there's doctors out there, which I think they're tightening up. But that's part of the gig. Yeah, I go get prescriptions here. I go sell them there.
Yeah.
It's a crisis. There's no doubt. And I think Australia doesn't see it as much. I think,
we've been slightly shielded from the US. Yep. The US has just been, the biggest problem. It's a bit like a war zone over there with the opioid crisis. And those companies now that were like the Oxycontin companies, they've been sued gazillions and gazillions of billions.
But they've made gazillions.
They have.
Right?
They have. Yeah.
So it's like
and they take that risk. They take that risk. They think, well, if we can make enough money, if we've got to spend some in the legal framework, then we will.
Yeah.
But we've already made the money in any event. But getting back to your mother, in terms of, look, I mean, if I was her,
I call out my people that I know stories. So it's just how it is because it's their real life. It's happening, right?
Well, I think it's a good example because, I mean, my mum was not too dissimilar to yours in that she was prescribed a particular opioid and she swore by it. And the whole rationale is that that's what their doctor prescribed them. Now, if you think about doctors today, they don't have the same ammunition. It wasn't taught to them in terms of the natural cannabinoids that are actually good for specific indications. Yeah. So they don't know what they don't know, and they're starting to get to grips with this now. But unless your mum is consulted by the doctor to say, hey, you've been on this for a certain period of time, we're going to try you on something that's more natural. How do you feel about that? And getting your mum comfortable about it, and then realizing that, it won't do any harm if I give it a go, versus if I keep going down the track with the Oxycontin, there might be a particular problem.
I guess there's no offer right now, yeah?
No.
Yeah, so for me, I've got my eye on it. I do believe there's something with the natural process, and I think it's up to me to try and educate because she still thinks it's, you're going to get high. And I'm like, Mum, it's not like that.
And that would be the least problem. The thing about cannabis as well is that there's a lot of the strains, and depending how it's extracted, that won't normally give you a high, but it won't impact what you talked about earlier, which is how you want to go and eat. And you want to, so there's particular cannabinoids that actually suppress the appetite, so they're really good for weight loss.
Are you kidding?
Yes, I know. So people don't really know that. They're doing a lot of work on that now. In fact, we're doing work with that around it being a weight product. So yeah, far be it from you going and scoffing everything in the house.
Kind of ruins the fun. But
yeah.
if we go back onto we talk about an opioid epidemic. Pfizer since the year 2000 has been fined $10 billion for false claims and whatnot. I mean, it's such an absurd number, and that's just one company.
Yeah,
it's such an absurd number that when you sit there and look at when the jab was in full flight, they had a $16 billion profit quarter.
Yes. Well, you've just answered that yourself. I mean, $10 billion is nothing if you're making $20 billion a quarter. And a lot of these companies, they build that into it. They build that into the risk. So
yeah, but it's not right.
Well, I don't think it's right. And most people now are becoming a lot more tuned into it. And they're asking themselves the questions, what is this product? And when I don't need this product, how am I going to be reliant on it?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
And when we talk about, I think, now this is John Paul's world of realism.
Yeah.
that the vaccinations that have happened for COVID-19 have done nothing but cloud people's mind about how big pharma should be seen.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think there'll be a little bit of doubt moving forward from now where people are like, well, you told us there was a fucking vaccine and it was like the old vaccines that were 99%, but it wasn't really the case, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a bit of doubt in people. I think Australians have proved that, I'll have my 2 shots, I'll have a booster, but fuck you, I'm not getting any more than that. You can go get fucked. And they've pushed Australians to enough. And I think if you asked, and I could be well outweighted here, if you asked how many people were happy with being vaccinated because they wanted to, not because they were forced to, I would love to know that percent.
Look, it can't be that many, because who wants to get vaccinated? Think about it. I mean, I wouldn't want to get vaccinated for anything, even if it did me good. I mean, who wants a bloody needle in their arm? I don't. So, I mean, the only way that I did get vaccinated, and the only reason I got vaccinated is because I had to travel.
Yeah.
And it was almost because of what other people, being with other people, I had to be vaccinated. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't really be bothered with it. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I mean, vax what you like. Do as you do as you don't. Up to yourself.
Just don't force it on me.
But what I'm a bit sort of annoyed and belligerent around is that I've just been told, you might need to get another booster. Well, I've already had 3 jags already.
Oh, you're going to get boosted
want to give me another one. So just how much profits do these companies make? Because if you think about it, they can just come out with every 6 months, have another booster. Well, there you go, 16 billion quarterly profits.
We had Dr. Professor Nikolai here, and he made one comment that really hit home, is that people should want vaccinations, not be forced to have them. And when I thought about it, he's exactly right. And I think for us, I think what we've seen and the actions that we've seen from Big Pharma, I think it's actually in everyone's mind made a little bit of a click to, okay, can they be trusted?
Yeah.
And can a natural process be as effective?
Well, the fact is this: all of these products were from natural sources before.
Yep.
So before there was companies like Pfizer and other companies where they made products to mirror that of nature, it was nature's products. And that's why...
So your products don't have mRNA in it?
No, our products are all natural. That's the whole thing. It's about being plant-based.
Yeah,
because
well, protein-based. At least there's...
We're going back to the roots of like something that's natural, something that's created in nature.
Yep.
There's nothing added to it.
Yeah.
So it's more about, but then you think about a pharmaceutical company. They spend $1 billion in research and development.
Yep.
If they could give me $1 billion, I bet you I could solve one of the biggest problems for them. But they wouldn't want that problem solved. So whilst they're doing the research and the development into a particular indication or product, they don't want it solved. Because if they solve the flu virus, for example, then they're buggered, because overnight their whole company would collapse. Just with the flu virus, for example. Well, how many billions does it take to solve a flu virus when it wasn't that long ago COVID came about, and now we've got something that actually combats COVID very quickly?
Yeah.
Why are they not doing that with the common cold? What about cancer? It's the biggest industry in the world. Why aren't they solving cancer? There's too much money to be made in cancer. There's too much money in the sick. We don't want everybody healthy. I say we. That's not the Osmedican group. We're the opposite. We want people healthy.
When you talk about, I'm staggered by the amount of money that's made from alcohol, cigarettes.
Yeah.
And right now, and in an industry that sells a lot of cigarettes, it's in decline in volume.
Yeah.
And I look at the amount of money that the government makes by excise, amount of money they make on the tobacco tax. And I can only see they're going to need an alternative moving forward.
Yeah.
So if you gave the government, and I believe this, so I this is one of those Gary V moments where you can rewind and find this stat, Ollie. All right, you mark that. Where I believe that the government's going to need to tax something other than cigarettes.
Absolutely, JP.
Right. And
now, if we had you running the country, we'd be doing all right with the sounds of things.
well,
I mean, where have you been? Sitting in this little box on the telly. You should be out there exploring and helping the world.
Oh, God, I think a few people have a heart attack with that. But I believe they will tax cannabis.
Definitely.
I believe they'll sit there, and if I was doing this, I would say, hey, quite happy to keep increasing. I mean, tobacco clearly proves it kills you. There's no, and so does alcohol, right?
Yeah.
And wine's good for you, so they say. But this is not like a maybe. It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So if we go to cannabis, so then we put our tax on cannabis, and then I make what I lose off the tobacco, and then help grow an industry that is doing the world better. I don't know if that's very good English, but that to me is a step forward for mankind.
Yeah.
Am I going to say mankind anymore?
Yeah. Well, humankind, you are. Right? Humankind, yeah.
So to me, I would then replace that. Here's your income stream. You still get it. You pick it up. You actually get a double. Why cigarettes, the cigarette companies are frightened what comes next. I mean, cigarette companies can't even get, like the big cigarette companies, the PMIs, the BARDA, they can't even get vape nicotine legalized.
Yeah.
And they can everywhere else in the world, but not in Australia.
That's
Yet,
right.
Every Joe Blow is selling all the dodgiest fucking vape on the planet. I saw a good one the other day, peanut butter and jelly. I almost wanted to start vaping. But they have all this stuff that they sell online, let it all in, don't make it illegal. Why don't they just come to the party of what's going on in the rest of the world and concentrate on something that's good for you?
Yeah. Well, it's all about the money, isn't it, and the mighty dollar.
Of course it is.
Now, the thing about, you've hit the nail on the head, though, when you talk about the decline in alcohol. You hit it on the nail on the head when you talk about the decline in cigarette consumption. So we know now that people are drinking less, And we know now that people are apart from us, but and we know that people are smoking less.
Yep.
So actually,
Well, you can't afford it.
well, the people will afford it because people will always find money to do things that they want to do.
True, that's true.
So, but I couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford it because we would rather put that money somewhere else. But if you think about the tobacco company of today, they're very focused on the cannabis industry of tomorrow. And they are. They are?
Yep.
And most of the big players have some form of investment in a cannabis company or a vape company already. So they're already thinking about that today. The same with the drinks. So drinks, the company called Constellation Brands, they invested $5 billion into a local cannabis company in Canada called Canopy.
Yeah.
And of course,
Canopy. Okay.
Canopy.
There's a fair bit of news about these guys, actually.
Yeah. Well, Canopy is actually the largest company in the world today because Constellation Brands that owns all of the beers.
So Canopy duo back together at Crezo.
Canopy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Canopy is different from Cresco.
Okay.
But Canopy, they've never made any money yet.
Yep.
They're in the beverage sector, so they own, and if I'm not mistaken, they own Corona beer or Budweiser beer.
Oh, so they're huge.
They're massive.
Yeah.
They're the largest beverage company in the world. So their investment of $5 billion into the cannabis company Canopy, which is a small company, made a lot of sense because in the future, people are going to be drinking cannabis beverages.
Well, 100%, and I'm saying it now.
Yeah.
If we can do a CBD beer,
yeah,
my friends at the Big Shed, I want to be the first.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting to know because we've already created a CBD beverage.
No, beverage? I'm saying beer.
Beer, yeah. But
that's not going to help the boys.
No, but we can help. We can help the boys. We can give the formulation.
South Australia brewer just down the road.
Well, see, a lot of people think in terms of like adding hemp to beverages or cannabis to beverages, the biggest problem that you've got is that it's oil to water. So oil and water don't mix.
Yep.
The oil comes to the top.
Yep.
So we invested quite heavily on technology that actually breaks down the oil and it allows it to mix with the hemp, with the water. So it's a better consistency. So it's not oil at the top.
Okay.
So in terms of your friends at the brewery, we've already got the technology. It's half the battle getting the technology to know how to do it, because otherwise you would have oil floating on top of the beer. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we talk about what governments are taxing, that's pretty clear. I'm assuming Big Pharma is definitely that they must be gobbling up cannabinoid joints, surely.
They are. Look, there's a company, Jazz Pharmaceutical, was purchased for over $7 billion. It's a company out of the UK, and they are not anywhere where we're at in terms of a company today, the Oz Medican Group, and they were picked up for over $7 billion. So
where's your buyout?
Yeah, well, we're not selling. But one day we will. Or so I'm told we will. But I need a job, JP, so we can't sell it.
Does it worry you that Big Pharma gonna come in? Like, do you think it's all beer and Skittles with a Big Pharma coming to town to make a play? And do you think that's gonna change that's a lot of money. I mean, imagine someone coming to you and go, here's $5 billion, get your product out there, hurry up and grow whatever team you fucking need.
Yeah.
Like, I look at that and I think, well, someone's going to be laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at what stage do you get controlled what happens? I mean, people forget that Big Pharma pays for the ads on TV, hence why the media needs to keep them happy. And like, it's a whole snowball effect.
Yeah.
If you start taking the natural path,
yeah,
don't you think it's just going to turn into another cigarette?
Look, it will be another cigarette, but it will be good for you at the end of the day. And look, it depends on what the philosophy is that you're driving. Now, the philosophy behind the Oz Medican group is that patients above profits. That's not to me.
Is that your statement?
Yeah, patients above profits. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't need to make money. That doesn't mean that we're not looking to make a profit.
Yeah, I get that.
It means that the first and most important thing is to look after the patients. And there's a lot of patients that cannot access medical cannabis because it's too expensive. I mean, I would struggle accessing medical cannabis at the prices that they're at today. So it's our job to actually reduce the cost and the barrier to entry so that everyone, everywhere, and I'm talking about the world, has access to premium medical grade cannabis, but an affordable price.
Right.
So there's definitely, so for us, I mean, we've been approached a few times to be purchased by big players. And it's came down to the fact that they don't have the same strategic goal as we do. They're not as concerned about the patient, they're more concerned about the profits. Because that doesn't fit with us.
It doesn't match.
That's
Now,
if you ask me to take the money and run, I'll take money every day. I'm Scottish and I'll run. But we're governed by a very sophisticated board that's joined that company for a particular reason, and that is patients above profits. How can we have everyone access a product that does them good? And makes them feel better.
Geez, you're the natural Steve Irwin. You're just alive, though.
I'm just alive.
But it shows that you actually care more about than just making money. And I'm sure, you want your big payday one day, and fair enough, that's what happens. But bringing the cost down. Now, how expensive is CBD?
So at the minute, it can cost you, I mean, I think it's quite ridiculous, but you could be paying up to $500.
For what?
For CBD, for one prescription.
So is that 50 mils? Is that?
That could be 35
I'm trying to think what a friend of mine's paid.
But basically, you can pay more for gold. You can pay more for gold than it would be for CBD in today's market if you look at the price of gold.
Ollie, what are you paying for CBD?
Mate gives me mates rates.
I mean, I actually didn't picture it was so expensive.
Yeah. Well, so currently, there's a couple of different ways that you can get a prescription. You can go to your doctor, your regular doctor, and they can go, okay, let's organise how we can make that happen for you. There's a bit of admin work done, and they can do it.
Okay.
Or if they don't know what they don't know, they can suggest looking on the internet and finding out where you can get it. Now, if you're that unlucky and you come up against one of the cannabis clinics, then you can phone up the cannabis clinic, you can make an appointment, you can be screened by a nurse, and eventually you might get a one-on-one with the doctor on a telemedicine platform. That cost is about $300 to $500. Then you've got to pay the medication on top of that.
So you can see why there's a black market.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why there's a sense of urgency for the government to approve products like the Oz Medican Group's product. They want to approve this product. It's not for the lack of wanting to do it, but it has to follow the guidelines of a Schedule 3 medicine.
And it's a long process.
It's a long process and it's a big investment. And most companies won't make that investment. And you'd probably think, well, why not? Because the market's $5 billion. There's a big enough market for it.
Yep.
There's enough of an uptake around people wanting to get access to CBD and cannabis medicine.
Yep.
We know that because we've already got the growth double digits every year with the prescriptions.
Yep.
But the reality is why does a company have to do that? So if you look at our company, for example, now we're an Aussie startup company. We've been going for about 4 years now. Now we can opt out to do one or the other. We don't have to do the clinical trial and spend the millions of dollars that it costs because worldwide, we don't need to do that. So if we want to sell our product in London or the US or Canada.
Yep.
We don't need to invest any money whatsoever for clinical evidence because it's legal in those markets. It's only for Australia. It's not legal. So it's only in Australia where you have to invest in the clinical evidence. So if we weren't a medical company, then perhaps we wouldn't be investing that money to make the product available over the counter. But the difficult thing for other companies in this space is that they're all startups, they're all new to the industry. And for them, $2-3 million to invest in a particular clinical trial is not going to give them enough of a reward when they don't need to, and they can sell the product, the exact same product, without any expenditure.
So
in other countries and other markets.
So your clinical trial you're doing is in stage.
Yeah.
So how many stages before you're live? Like, are you in stage 2, how does it work?
So the first thing that you have to do is you have to do your dossier, and you have to do all of the research that goes with the dossier. We've done that.
Yep.
And then you have to go through the process of, is this something that the TGA,
Yep.
and you have to meet with the TGA, they're happy with it. No. Then you have to go through and do the ethics. So once you've done the ethics, your clinical trial. So we're at the point of doing the recruitment for the clinical trial.
Okay. So that's...
So we're at the final hurdle, if you like.
Yeah. Okay. So you get your 300 people.
Yeah.
On that trial. We need to... We can promote that too. I think it'd be good to put it out there.
Yeah.
And then once you get that trial, how long is the process?
So it only takes about 5 weeks. I know. But it's the administration after that. So the trial only takes around about 5, maybe 6 weeks maximum.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's all of the work post that trial that has to be done. And that's where it takes about another 6 to 8 months, could be 12 months.
So with the with your product, it's specifically about sleep.
Specifically on sleep.
Is that the first in the world?
It's the first in the world Trasman trial. So in the world, people would think, and they do, well, we've got hundreds of thousands of years with anecdotal evidence, but no one has ever put their money up to say, right, well, we're about to, test and try what we're doing, and we want to get it through clinical evidence. And the reason is because they don't have to, as I said before, they don't have to invest the money in it. So why would they bother doing it? Well, our company will be the first in the world to have invested in this particular clinical trial that will benefit all Aussies, but not just Aussies. It'll be registered across the world.
So I'm assuming that Australian CBD.
Yeah.
Is that seen as much better than China CBD?
Look, it would probably surprise you to know that China grow more cannabis and hemp.
You know what?
But it doesn't surprise you. Does
it actually doesn't. But surely, if I'm sitting on the line and I'm in Canada, and I'm like, I want to buy some CBD. Oh, look, Australia's got like the kangaroo CBD.
Yeah.
Versus the Chinese flu CBD.
Yeah.
Like, I am just saying.
The Chinese flu CBD.
Well,
nobody wants that, JP.
But I'm assuming, does being locally Australian, does that mean something around the world or not?
Yes, it does. So brand Australia means everything. It's about the green, the clean, and all of the above. Now, in terms of our products that are pharmaceutical grade, we have the world's gold standard. So therefore, anywhere in the world, as soon as they see that you've got a cannabis product or any therapeutic product registered in Australia, they know that it's got the gold standard stick of approval, and it's easier to get it registered in those countries, other countries, out with Australia.
So it's a global.
Yeah, it's highly
from Australia.
Yeah. So our company will be the first Aussie company in the world to have evidence-based products in cannabis space that you can get in the pharmacy without a prescription.
See, I don't know. It's funny because you don't hear about much about it.
No, but to be fair, there are a few companies here in Australia. Some of them have an American or a Canadian sort of influence, who have and will develop their own products for registration on the TGA. And I take my hat off to them because, as I said before, it's not for the faint-hearted. And it means that they're really focused on the outcome, the right outcome, because companies they can forget about Australia. So they don't need to. They can be
the
here.
market's too small.
Yeah, it's not big enough to be that concerned about if you're only looking at the bottom dollar. However, if you're smart enough around it, when you get the sign off in Australia, then it's got that diamond service standard. So therefore you can sell your product all over the world. So whilst you've got a small market here in Australia, whilst the barrier is quite difficult to get entry into, whilst it's not for the faint-hearted and it costs a lot of money, worldwide is where the prize is when it comes to sleep.
Okay. Yeah, it's a.
And sorry, I said earlier that 1 in 9 people.
Yeah,
I meant 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
people.
I think I said I can't believe it's only 1 in 9.
Yeah,
I was like, is that all? Fuck, everyone I speak to, not everyone, but it's a big problem. Now
we've got these. We have these sleep tea products, which we also have as a CBD sleep tea.
Thanks for bringing some samples in.
I know, but we can't because it's illegal.
Oh.
We can have a glass of wine.
Thanks for bringing him under
we can have a glass of wine. We can have a glass of wine, but we can't have some CBD tea. I will say, though, the CBD tea is gold. And when we can sell that in this country, it's bliss. So people will...
Has it got a name?
It's CBD tea.
Oh, that's pretty original.
Right, well, we're medical people.
Long and hard to come up with that one.
Well, we're medical people. We're not marketing or salespeople. I think that we could probably be doing with them people, but everything we do has to be within that sort of pragmatic medical sphere. But the CBD tea is bliss. And when we can sell, so whilst we won't sell it here, so we launched that in the US and we launched that in Canada and the UK.
So you have?
No, we are.
Yeah.
So it's about to go live in the next couple of weeks.
Have you thought of a different name, but not just straight
Look,
out?
I haven't because CBDT. Look, well, I might have to go away and take that back to the team, but maybe marketing have got a different idea and I just don't know about it yet. But yeah, I'm always the last to know.
I love how it's about to be launched, but that sounds. I mean, I'll be honest. I have a.
The name was almost the last thing that's important because the work that it's taken to get a product that you can put in a tea, that you can mix with a medicinal herb, that you can sell on a market. There's so much went on to it. The name has almost been forgotten about. So you've flagged something up that needs to go back to the drawing board, and I'll be advising you as to how we go with that.
So you're going to have that. Would that product be packaged in Australia?
Yeah. So everything that we do has to be in Australia.
Okay.
So there are companies, and there's nothing wrong with this, but they'll white label a product from overseas and then they'll bring that in and they'll put their own name on the shelf. Everything that we do has to be 100% Australian, albeit I'm Scottish. But I am Australian as well, though.
That's okay.
Just in case your audience are a bit scratchy. I'm Aussie through and through.
Oh, shit. Now, I think I got an explanation. The body has cannabinoid receptors, and that's why if you have oxycodone and all that, then once you actually stop it, your receptors want more and hence a craving. But I heard that the cannabinoids are in your body naturally. Yeah. So can you explain it far better than I can?
Look, probably not, but I'll give it a go.
I'm happy.
I'll give it a go. So, they only discovered that the body was full of endocannabinoids, and I call them endocannabinoids for your listeners because it makes it a wee bit easier.
Yep.
But the endocannabinoid is full of receptors, and they're almost like talking to each other all of the time. And if you think about taking an Oxycontin, well, there's no natural receptor to receive that. So it's actually got to go a lot harder for it to work.
Mhm.
Whether it's with cannabis and with CBD, in the body is already the CBD receptors. So it's designed for that. So long gone before, our bodies has already been created to know that CBD works for our bodies.
Mhm.
So this is obviously something that's been happening way before, thousands of years ago, that's allowed our bodies to be receptive to the cannabinoid strain. So, what does that mean? It means
Sorry,
that
I was reading.
any opioid in the body, is not it's tricking the body into doing something or thinking or feeling something, whether it's cannabis, CBD, anything from the cannabinoid plant.
It finds a receptor.
Some of them are good, some of them are not so good.
Yeah.
The receptors are natural receptors, so they work really well with the body. But
So-
funny enough, they only worked that out yesterday practically. It wasn't like something in the medical books 100 years ago.
And what is do you know CB2, CB1? Is CB2 receptors, are they more common in the immune system?
I don't know.
They help they actually help the inflammation and pain, apparently.
Yeah. Well, there's still work to be done in that in terms
Yeah.
of getting the evidence around it. But look, as I said to you before, I mean, if you believe, what people say, cannabis can, grow your hair. It can do anything you like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if it could grow my hair. But
I got a healthy head there. What are you
yeah.
talking about?
yeah, well, you say it's healthy, but there's been a few tricks to getting it that healthy. That's for another show. But look, at the end of the day, the cannabis, they say, is good for everything. But the fact is, if you want to say that it can do a specific thing, then you need to get the evidence. And that's where it comes short. So companies like us and other companies like us are investing the money now in getting the evidence, so that then when your mum goes to the doctor and your mum says, you know what, my son says I shouldn't really be on these opioid tablets.
Yep.
And he thinks that I might be better on a natural. He mentioned cannabis. What do you think?
Yep.
Well, we want the doctor to have confidence and say, well, I'll tell you what, there has been a particular product from the HempOZ Medican group, which has actually been tried and tested and clinically proven to do A, B, and C.
Yep.
Then the doctor will have the confidence talking to your mum, and your mum will have the confidence because the doctor said, you know what, give it a go.
But
it won't do you any harm.
does the doctor make money from prescribing big pharma drugs?
Yes.
Will the doctor make money from prescribing HempOZ Medican?
No.
This is a fundamental issue.
So, and I'll tell you another thing, actually. So we've really taken a massive approach to this, in that there are doctors at the minute in particular cannabis clinics that will do a telehealth for between $99 up to the $500, and then you've got to pay for the product. We've actually steered away from having our products positioned within cannabis clinics because we don't believe that patients should be paying any more money. So we're at the minute looking at a business model that we've set up, and it's called Connecting Patients with Doctors. And we'll only connect patients with doctors that do not charge an additional fee because they're talking about medical cannabis. So if you got your doctor and you want to get an opioid tablet to help you to go to sleep, for example, you've got your doctor, and your doctor will either bulk bill or charge you whatever they charge you.
Yep.
If they bulk bill and it's a 15-minute consultation, it might be like, $50.
Yep.
If it's a half an hour consultation, it might be $120 or something like that, right?
Yep.
And my gripe is that why should patients have to go and pay the doctor an additional cost out with the consultation? Because at the moment, the doctor already gets money from the government because they can bulk bill. But when they see a cannabis patient, they're charging on top of that. So we have a different business model that will really disrupt that. And it means that if you see a doctor, you don't pay anything extra than you would if you're going for a bulk bill.
Is there an avenue there where the government should be doing something because they're going to be taxing it and they'll be helping you guys to because or are they just happy helping all the people dying of cancer because of other reasons?
The government, I have to say, are doing a good job. I mean, it doesn't seem that way from the outside.
It just seems a bit slow, but that's government.
It does. But the reality is they're dealing with an unregulated drug, right? So if you think about at the moment, if your mum goes to the doctor, she can get prescribed cannabis. But that prescription that she's being prescribed has got no evidence whatsoever. It's had no clinical trials. That's today.
Yeah, so she can get CBD. It's just no evidence.
But it can't be for a specific indication.
Yeah,
and she won't know.
Yeah, is it for pain? Is it for sleep? Yeah. Is it for whatever?
That's right. So it's a bit difficult for a patient to know that and to navigate that really.
So if we've got a new premier here in South Australia, Malinauskas, could he then present, hey guys, let South Australia be the first state to legalize cannabis?
Yeah.
Could he do that?
He could. He could.
Yeah.
And I have a funny feeling that this South Australia is quite lateral in their thinking and they are keen to have this dialogue. And I know that Victoria are also quite progressive.
Yep.
So it will be a matter of time. There's a lot of noise.
Be nothing better than to beat Victoria.
Oh, yeah.
To legalize cannabis. I mean, I think we should be pushing for it. I reckon we should because you see around the world and what's happened, and I think they need to get to a stage where medical use, and then down the track, if people want to have recreational use, whether it's through edibles or smoking or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be up to them. I can only imagine a whole state of people that have got edibles and that be a bit more relaxed, no? It's got to be better. It's got to be better than ice, doesn't it?
Well, it's definitely better than ice. I mean, not that I can talk about ice very confidently. But look, the thing is that they're waking up to that, and in most places in the US,
what's happened? Is there been I think the US has 14 states recreational has been approved.
Yes. New York was the last one, so it's taken a while, but now New York is legal for recreational.
So I can only assume, does that cuts the black market out, no?
Yes, it really does. And that's a very good point. In fact, I'm glad that you mentioned that because at the minute, the only people that are making money from any regulation in cannabis, even the good news that's coming about in terms of its evidence, is the black market. Because even at the minute, our research team did some research on, what are people using? Why are they going to get a prescription for it? And the real reason is a number of people are going to get a prescription because they can say, back to your point earlier about having it in the car, if they get stopped with the police, then they can say, oh, guess what? I've got a prescription for it. So,
I can't do that with THC cannabis, can I?
Well, you can't drive with it. You shouldn't drive with it, right?
So if I can't get prescribed. Yeah. Look, hang on, if I missed this. In Australia, I can't get prescribed cannabis with THC.
Well, you could if you fitted with the indication. So if you have tried other products that didn't work or fit for you, then your doctor could see fit to prescribe you a medicinal cannabis product. So there's a lot of people in our research that get a prescription through a cannabis clinic or the doctor. They go once to get the prescription, which is the high cost, but they keep that certificate in the car to say that they have a prescription. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't get done for driving under the influence of THC, but at least they feel better about, but I've got a prescription.
Okay.
But because if you think about it, putting yourself in those shoes, nobody wants to be caught doing anything unless they've got something to say, but look, I'm doing it because of, so they've got an out. So that's meant that there's a lot of people out there that will get one prescription filled, not go back for the other ones, and they'll go straight to the black market because it's cheaper.
Right.
So you would think, I mean, and if you think about it, it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, if people have got to go to the doctor, get a prescription, let's say it's going to cost them, $400 or $500. Well, why in their mind do they need to do that when they can go to the black market and get it for, say, $100?
Yeah.
So it's actually much more cost effective. So until we actually get the baddies out of the system, which is the black market drug dealers, and the government get the initiative to say, right, well, we may as well know where this money's being spent.
No, we'll tax it.
Tax it, make some money from it, and then be able to deal with it like they would any other health condition.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I can only assume that the studies being done on what's happening in America and, Amsterdam, I'm assuming it's all, is Amsterdam, I think everything's legal there. I'm not sure actually. But is there studies done that, hey, when this opens up, we do notice crime goes down. We do is there anything to prove that on the black market side that everything sort of comes down or not?
Yeah, there is. No, I don't have them off the top of my head, but I can certainly send you some information with just some facts that you can add to the podcast at the end.
Yeah.
That will actually show people what countries, when they went legal, what did it mean?
Yeah, did something change?
Yeah.
Did crime go down?
And did taxes get paid?
Yeah, did they get, because I'm assuming, I don't know, in America, I'm assuming they're taxing this and hence why
Absolutely.
Like, did Colorado or somewhere in Canada? I'm assuming Canada started this somewhere.
Well, Canada started recreational.
Yeah.
And Colorado's fully recreational. But in Colorado, they've managed to pay for things like hospitals and schools and upgrades of infrastructure. And they're very independent because of the success of the tax dollars.
Yeah, and I can assume, why wouldn't you want that? I mean, I'm sort of saying, I had a bit of a discussion with a certain politician about nuclear power, and basically he said that, we don't have the volume for nuclear power, but what I should have said is nuclear storage. I mean, very stable here in Australia. And if, we mine it now and then ship it off, why don't we store it here in, the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
We don't have, many earthquakes, and, when you're in the middle of Australia, there's no chance of the fire or anything. It's all sand.
Yeah.
That would change our economic value to the world.
Look, it would. And I think that the whole thing about the political landscape is that they're only motivated to act
for the next
and to
4
do
years.
stuff for 4 years, 8 years if they're lucky.
Yep.
So the reality is anything that goes out of that, such as, hydrogen and nuclear and other ways that we can be, using fuel smarter, that isn't really going to get them their job today if they start talking about things that are that can drive innovation. So I think that the problem is that having people in power for a short period of time, they don't then have the lens of a long-term view. If you had a long-term view, you would do exactly what you said. In fact, JP, you should be running for the country. And I'll come and work with you. I'll be the cannabis front. I'm already recognised as the cannabis man everywhere I go in Sydney.
It just seems so, if the system was different, where you had parties working together for a common goal, where both parties have to agree on the common goal, whether, they might not love it, but it might be for the better. But I don't know, mate. I look at, I think the American system, funny enough, once they make a call, they seem to get along to get there.
Yeah.
Where I look in Australia, we make a decision and the other party just wants to fight it no matter what.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's better for the economic, the economy.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't join together to do it. It seems so logical. I don't know. I mustn't be bright enough to be into politics because
or the other thing is you're too bright to be in politics because the thing is you would actually want to see a result. If I had a job for 8 years and my focus was on a political agenda. I would want to achieve that goal. Hell, rain or shine, I would want to achieve that.
Yeah.
Now, most people, I believe, when they get into politics have that thinking. But then when they get into it, there's so many different barriers saying, oh, we can't do that now. We've spoke about that then. We don't want to progress on that. So there's a lot of stuff that goes around and around because it's not about making decisions that are, as you said, the best interest of the people.
Yeah, and it seems so obvious, but it all comes down to how many people are for or against.
Yeah.
And, that system's got to change. A long time ago, and this is going back a while, I came up with an idea called Polywaffle.
Oh.
And what it was an app where you rate the politicians and then they put what they've said they're going to do for the election. And then it rates them over their 4-year term to how they have achieved or what they haven't achieved.
Right. Well, in that case, they'd be buggered. Because none of them would have done what they had to, what they had promised to do.
Correct. And when I started speaking to some pollies about it, I couldn't believe how they're like, oh, no, that you fill in your own one, you put your own profile in there, you update all of your thing, you're in charge of your Polywaffle. And then when it comes up for the election, you send it to the punters and you go left or right, like Tinder, left or right to say, yeah, I like them, no, I don't. And then it then puts them into the system and evaluates them over the next 4 years.
Well, and
it's a great idea.
Well, I think it's a great idea. And well, of course they hate it. But it's a bit like
would you download it?
Yeah, I would, but it holds them accountable, so they don't want it.
No,
see,
it stops people from actually voting at the 11th hour on the basis of their hair or their tie that they're wearing. Because at the end of the day, you're in those polling booths, and you've got to make a decision quite quickly. Because if you don't, you get charged, don't you? $50 or $100. So. Yeah, I think that would be a very good app. That would keep everybody accountable.
There's many good people that have made look stupid in politics. It's wrong.
It is, but back to cannabis. In South Australia, if South Australia took the leap of faith and said, this is what we're going to do, I reckon that the votes would come through pretty strong for them. So, like, for example, I'm quite surprised that, let's say, Albanese, for example, New South Wales, hasn't came out with, right, do you know what, we're going to do this on cannabis and this is how much we're going to tax people and we're going to be able to control it and it won't be in the hands of the kingpins and the drug lords. So we're now going to take that out. We're going to look after the consumer who's going to be they're using it anyway. Yeah. So let's do it practically and let's make some money from it. If some politician actually had the gumption to do that, I reckon that they would have a lot of uptake. It's a bit like the gay marriage. I mean, the gay marriage. Can you believe it wasn't long ago that it was illegal to be married here if you were gay? Well, now, hold on, because I have a story on that.
Okay, go.
As a gay man, I didn't want to be married. I don't believe in marriage, full stop, regardless. And when they came up with the vote yes, vote no, I was jokingly vote no because I thought I don't want to get married. So I was one of the first people off the cab off the rank, even though I didn't want to get married.
What, are you married?
I am.
Are you?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were gay.
Yeah, no, really, no, well, they don't.
So what, you went so straight as soon as it got legalised,
so I don't believe in it. I don't believe in marriage anyway for the straights. Don't do that to the gays, I thought. I couldn't believe. So I was running around Sydney saying vote no. but quietly. But what I did think about it at the time was, even though I wasn't a big advocate, I couldn't really care one way or the other. All I kept thinking about is that 50% of my wealth was going to be stolen. That's all I kept thinking, at least when you're gay. In the legal framework, they can't take your money. But now, they can take your money. But what I thought was, if they don't legalise same-sex marriage, how can I stay in this country even though I don't believe in it myself, I don't really care about gay marriage. I don't care about it, but I know that other people care, and that's important. It's about like cannabis is what other people think, not what you think.
Yep.
And I was ready to leave the country if they voted no. So the fact that they voted yes and I was first cab off the rank.
What was the vote? Was it close? Was there a percent?
It wasn't close. It was a good majority for
because
gay
who
marriage.
Cares? Like,
who cares? I wouldn't care. I mean, I couldn't care. I couldn't care less about, what people can do, but I do care for other people's concerns. If that's what they want, then they should be allowed to do stuff, whether it's smoking cannabis recreationally or whether it's getting married to their love life partners. Yeah. It should be the choice of the people, not the choice of us. And it baffles me to think that was only like practically, 3 years ago?
I remember it, but it must have been before COVID and shit.
Just before COVID. I mean, 2018, 2019, thereabout. It's not that long. And now you wouldn't imagine, would you, a politician coming out and saying we don't support...
Oh, they'd get lynched.
Well, exactly.
Absolutely.
So, in relation to the cannabis, it's the same type of thing. People want to be able to have the choice of a new era in medicine, which is plant-based, their choice. Yeah. Or they want to be able to, as you said, have a smoke with some friends and feel good. It's their choice. Yeah. It's not a politician's choice. Yeah. It's the people's choice.
Well, 100%. And that was 2017, just for the record.
Right. Well done.
Then I look at...
How did you know that then? Did you get told in your ear like a TV presenter?
Oh, yeah. It's just magic.
Okay. Well done. Yeah.
Magic happens.
That's great.
When I look at my time, I've been to Amsterdam once.
Yeah.
And they legalize... Is it prostitution? Is that what the windows are? Yeah. They legalize prostitution, legalize... I think they got their cannabis cafes and and I don't know if it was just me, but it's a pretty fucking happy place.
Yeah, very happy indeed.
Like I went with the guy that doesn't. He's our warehouse guy, so he doesn't even drink, right? So this guy's straight everything, like, and I was like, this is fascinating. This place, like. You've got all these alleys that you go down and there's like all these like chicks in the windows and you go to the cafes and you can drink and eat, smoke. You can, I think,
have a cup of space tea.
You can have whatever you want. And everyone seems happy. I didn't see any dramas there. We were out in the town each night because we were there for 2 nights and Glenn forced me to come out.
Yeah, making the most of it.
He forced me to go out every night. And naturally I was there with him. Yeah. But I just thought this is a happy place. And I don't know if it was just me because I was happy, but I was like, why don't you just let that go? You get rid of a whole lot of the black market product and then you can actually tax it. People want to do it.
They're doing it anyway.
They do it.
So it's not like you're encouraging people to do something that they're not doing. Yeah. The amount of people, so there is, again, out of 10 people, there's 9 people that smoke marijuana or use some form of cannabis.
So it's just a matter of time. And I don't think, if someone was running for government here or the Prime Minister, I think it'd be a good win. Imagine how many people on board they'd get. If they said, let's, we'll do it in stages, medical first. And then let the medical guys put some money into them, let them get their research. Yeah. And then go into the recreational, because I can see one day Drake's are going to have a section and it's going to be a dispensary style section where you can buy whatever you want. Yeah. Just, we can't even sell fucking alcohol.
I mean, I'm coming from the UK where you can buy, alcohol anywhere. It really surprised me that you can't buy it here. So what's the deal with that then? I mean, has it always been the case? Is there people advocating?
There's a lot of pushback for the liquor at ALM, the Liquor Federation, Liquor guild, or they're not even a guild, that's the pharmacy, but there's a lot of pushback because they've paid big money for their licenses and the time.
Right.
And they don't.
So it's more about the money rather than the fact that it's
all
accessible.
Because how stupid is it that
Yeah.
I come to the supermarket to buy my groceries and I have to fucking go somewhere else
Yeah.
to get alcohol? Like, it's ridiculous. And I think Victoria, you buy alcohol in supermarkets.
I don't know what's the Victoria, but New South Wales definitely not, because
So
just
not
recently,
New South Wales, not Queensland.
no.
I'm sure you're doing Victoria. Maybe I'm mixing this up. You can't buy alcohol in Australia? Well, see, this is how fucking stupid it is.
Well, it's about the same way with pharmacies. I mean, when is Australia going to have an interlinked pharmacy? Because when I go to the supermarket, I want to be able to pick up anything and everything that I need. I don't want to have to go to 3 different stores.
Oh, the pharmacy guild, mate. They are fucking they are not letting go in a hurry. And I mean, well, West Farmers has just done a deal to start to sell. No, they're not selling. They're doing something to do with. So the West Farmers deal, which they've just started to move into pharmacy with.
So are they buying the Priceline?
Australian Pharmaceutical Industries, which said they'll never be sold. And then $800 million later, it was a good deal.
Yeah, money talks.
But that they bought API, and we followed that in all of our stories because they were saying, no, it's not about the money. Like it was so
never
funny.
about the money.
And I think the number, it was officially done on the 31st of March.
Yeah.
So I think it was 800. It was a lot. Yeah, 700 million, right? And it was like we made a bit of fun of it because it was never going to happen, never. And then it's like all of a sudden, so that they're not selling prescriptions and things. They've just done a deal with like a Chemist Warehouse or something like that. So that's they want to streamline the supply chain,
right? So they want to make more money. They want basically everybody
want to make more money
wants,
than $1 billion a year.
Yeah, they want the customers to leave with a full basket, and of course that's how it should be. But you want to be able to give the customers what they want. I know for me, for example, I want to be able to go when I ever go, which is not often, to the grocery shop. I want to be able to pick up what I need. But I want to, if I want some, gin and tonic, then I want to be able to pick that up as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in America, they're very integrated. Like the supermarkets, they sell pharmacy, but they have
the pharmacist,
in it. And
but that's fair enough. I mean, if you've got to have a pharmacist in it, of course
it should be. And it's just funny how we can't. We got so many stokes in the fire to sell liquor in supermarkets. We've got a couple of sites that we would love to sell liquor in, but we have to beg, borrow, and we are screaming. But the system's so broken. Just open it up, sell alcohol, like. And yes, okay, your licenses that you paid for, however, bad luck. That's what happens with progression. Yeah. Sometimes there's some losers.
Yeah, definitely.
But we just need to, It'll be how long, this is a Gary V moment, how long will it be until supermarkets sell pharmacy products, or how long will it be until there's a pharmacy inside of a supermarket? That is the thing.
In fact, the bigger question is how long will it be before you can buy your cannabis products, and your CBD, and your therapeutics products?
I'd like to talk about that because I think there's a market for that, and I think it'd be some funky, like, we got our store at Goodwood, pretty funky. It'd be wild to have a little dispensary there. Yeah. And if you want to choose to get that product, so be it. Yeah. And if you don't, walk past it. It's like people that complain when they're watching my content. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Like, it's not rocket science here, guys. But moving along, we've discovered a lot. We've got a couple of questions come through on Instagram.
Right. Okay.
Can it DW3AP.on.3? Nice one. Can CBD help with anxiety and depression? And does it help you sleep? We've talked about this quite a bit, so.
Yeah, but anecdotally, absolutely yes.
Yeah.
CBD can help you sleep. And that's why our clinical trials are focused on that particular indication. They also say CBD is good for anxiety and depression. Now, again, like our sleep product, you can't actually make those claims unless you have the clinical evidence. So the next cab off the rank for us is anxiety
I'd be doing
and
that
depression.
Right. Those two things right now, they're two things that no one ever talked about anxiety or depression when I was at school, which it's like 10 years ago. But I would be banging on that straight away because I think it's gonna. Yeah, I think COVID has made everyone a bit anxious,
but it's also made people aware of their own anxiety and the changes that are happening around them. Is making them feel more about, well, that's why I'm feeling anxious.
Yeah.
So people are aware. People know what they know. They know that if they want to get drunk, they can drink alcohol.
Yeah.
They know that if they want to feel better, they can have a CBD product that allows that feeling.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, our business is around bringing natural products to everyone, everywhere across the world that make them feel good. Now, I don't know anybody, I haven't met anybody in the world that doesn't want to feel good. Have you?
No, it's what everyone's...
I'm having this glass of wine. I'm feeling good.
Yeah. It's all about the company.
It's all about, well, I won't say that out loud, just in case I change my mind later on down the track. But you want to feel good. I mean, you want... your food, you want it to be enriching, you want it to be nourishing, you want it to be good for you, and you want to feel good with it. You want to take stuff that makes you feel good. And whether that's alcohol, whether that's CBD, whether that's cannabis in the future, who are we to say what other people should do or not do to make themselves feel good? Well, I'm not going to judge anyone. Are you?
No, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not. I got some more questions here.
Yeah.
Paul DeCastino. How can we get it? I think we've explained it a bit. So, Paul, hopefully...
No, but look, Paul, can I just answer that though? Paul, well done. That's a great question. How can you get it? At the minute, the only way to get it is go to your doctor and let your doctor know that you would like prescribed CBD or a cannabis solution.
Yeah.
And have that conversation with your doctor. It always starts with your doctor because your doctor knows best about whether it will interact with other medications, whether it will interact with your driving, will interact with other cold and flu tablets. Yeah. So the first thing to do is to go to your doctor. Stay tuned for our clinical trial recruitment process, and perhaps you can be take part of that.
Very sweet. Aussie from Adelaide, is it legal or not? Script or not script? So I think you've explained this.
Yes, good question though. It is legal. You can go to your doctor and you can get a prescription for cannabis if your doctor feels that it's the right medication for you.
Yep.
If you're just going to get it because you want some cannabis, then it's probably not the right thing to do. Your doctor will know best.
Yeah, okay. So is there a website that you can see which doctors are the doctors that I can go to?
There is a government, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, they have part of their website talks to how to have that discussion with your doctor.
Okay. Craig MC 1994. When will we be selling it at Drake's? Yeah. Is that Craig from Elizabeth? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Well, Craig will be first, so I'll let you know. Our compostable journey. So these guys must do something about composting stuff. Are there any local growers in South Australia?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. My mate Dave,
but I'm sure there's a few people dab hand at it.
I think it's a very pretty plant, to be honest. I like the look of it, like the smell of it. I think it's a cool looking plant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, right. This looks legit. This question. Can this be beneficial for my inoperable brain surgery symptoms? And hang on, you're not a doctor, are you?
No.
Okay. I'm just, hey,
Yeah.
Gypsy, I'm just saying that John ain't a doctor.
Yeah.
But can you answer that?
So look, I would not answer that from a medical point of view.
That's fair
You
enough.
need to go to your doctor and ask your doctor.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Like some people are just bullshit.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, no,
Well done,
we can't do
So
that.
we've been going for a couple of hours.
Well, I'm quite surprised.
But we have some pretty hard-hitting questions to come.
Excellent. Well, bring them on, I say.
Okay. If you weren't doing what you're doing, what would you be doing?
I would be doing the exact same thing as I was doing before I started this, which is management consultancy. So I've only ever had 2 jobs. One job I was with a firm for 16 years, which brought me to Australia.
Yeah.
And the other is setting up my own consultancy firm, which I still own and sit on the board of.
Okay.
So if I could be doing anything else, it would be that.
Okay. That's fair enough.
But there's nothing more exciting than cannabis.
That's true. I think it's pretty cool. So what do you wish you had known when you first started out in the last 4 years? What advice could you be giving people that are wanting to start out in the cannabis industry today? Like the 16, 17, 18-year-old kid that I want to get into this industry.
Yeah. I would say it's the future. So it's a bit like the .com before. It's a bit like the internet. You know, how do you make a living in that? If you are serious about the future, and the future is going to involve people feeling better, people resting better, and people playing better, then it's an industry that you should look at. There's lots of facets to the industry. So you're talking about technology, you're talking about finance, you're talking about health and wellness, of course, but then you're talking about the environment, you're talking about agriculture, horticulture. It is quite a vast industry, and there's obviously, you know, the outcome of that is pharmaceutical or well-being products in the future.
And let's face it, I mean, having a product that actually is good for the better of the human race, so to speak, must be a good feeling.
Look, I have to say,
I sell sugary drinks and stuff.
And I would be
legal.
look, and I have to say though, on the sugary drinks front thing, I mean, I love a sugary drink, right? I love it. So come Christmas Day, I'm allowed to eat sugary drinks. Otherwise, I cannot drink them at all. And the reason is because obviously my sugar levels and everything. So it did me no good. But what I did, as soon as I was told I couldn't have sugary drinks, not just did I want it, I did it. I stuffed myself with a $2 carton of vanilla ice cream, because that's all this shop had at the time. And when I say it was a carton, it could have fed 25 people, along with crisps and sugar and all of the other stuff. Because of course, as soon as you're told not to do something, you do it, you do it 10 times. So look, I mean, it's about, do you want to be aligned with a product that makes people feel better, whether that's from a medical point of view or whether that's about them vibing the way that they vibe? Well, I tell you what, that's what got me excited.
We know which one that is.
Yeah.
So, if there was one thing that you could do that would have an impact on the world, what would it be?
It would actually be giving people choice as to what they want to drink. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, I've always seen drinks and they've always been sold to me as being something that's good for me or better for me, or has vitamin in it. And I've always been attracted to those products. Yeah. It wasn't until the last 5 years I realized that these products are not that good for me.
Yeah.
They're full of sugar, or they're full of other numbers that you know, you don't know anything about.
Yep.
So I've always wanted to I wanted the choice. If I want a sugary drink or a crap beverage, because I like the taste of it, then that's what I want.
Yeah.
But I want the choice between something that's going to be good for me and something that's not going to be good for me.
Yeah, choice. Love it.
It's a choice. I want the choice.
Yeah. So we've got one question left. I know, look, we could speak for ages on it. It's actually gone very quick. But no one gets out of this room, this extravagant podcast room, without this question.
Yeah.
If you were to die and come back to life as a board game, what board game would best describe John Leith's life?
Monopoly.
Fuck, that was quick.
And get out of jail. You know that one, because the thing is that, you know, we're all likely to get ourselves in trouble by saying what we shouldn't be saying or doing what we shouldn't be doing. So I've always liked Monopoly, get out of jail. So I hope that helps.
You realise Monopoly's more about getting out of jail.
Oh, is it? I don't really know. All I know is that you don't want to go into jail, and I don't play games very often.
Oh, God. Well, there you have it. You know, a fascinating talk through a lot of the things about CBD, cannabis, where we are in Australia, and what difference you can actually make with this product around the world. Look, it's super exciting to hear that there's lots of misconceptions, I think, about hemp, and I think having people like you in charge of companies and your team, you know, you just have such a inspirational look on how a business should be run for the better of everyone around it and doing good things. And, you know, you are few and far between. And it's been absolutely fantastic having you here talking about things that I can safely say that we're in 2022 now. But moving forward, you are definitely going to see this movement. And, you know, it's super exciting to be involved and see what you're actually doing to make a difference. And thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Well, thank you. Look, it's the biggest industry in the world today. And not everyone is tuned into that because, as you mentioned earlier, our politicians are keeping the lid on it. So I'm very excited to have been here today. Very much looking forward to when Drake has their first dispensary.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to being behind the counter on that day, serving the product.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, and fingers crossed we get a recreational dispensary going as well.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.